Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to another wonderful session of our workshops, empowering sessions that we have every month. We do stream these live on our Facebook, as well as our YouTube page. And we are so excited to be back again for another wonderful workshop. And we're going to feature Mr. Joe Watkins, who is the City Councilman at Large here in Lexington, North Carolina. Super excited to have him. I'll give a few people to come in the room. I see a couple viewers. So again, as we always do, feel free to leave a comment, say hello, let me know you're here, and we'll get things started. Okay, so as people come and leave some comments of saying hello, I just wanted to, again, thank you all for being here this afternoon. And I wanted to give another big, huge thank you to our employers that participated last Wednesday in our first community job fair. It was an amazing turnout. It was super hot, but they weathered that heat with me. And we were actually in Southside. And it was a wonderful turnout to get people to come out. Some good employers are looking for some faithful employees to get started, some good pay, some good benefits. And as we know, with the housing authority, definitely want to get people to keep jobs and be able to continue to flourish, along with being self-sufficient at some point. And speaking of self-sufficiency, for those who do not know, I am Whitney Middlebrooks. I am the Family Self-Sufficiency Program Director here at the Lexington Housing Authority. And as mentioned, we do host a virtual workshop every month, just to connect, touch bases, give out some good information, provide resources, and other good knowledge that we can all share and apply to our lives. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. And I have Ms. Sage introduce herself.
Hi there, I'm Sage Chioma, and I am the coordinator of Boss Initiative, which is building our success stories. And so we collaborate here once a month to have people who have specialized in a specific area come in and lecture and give you some type of skills that are practical and that you can apply to your life in order for you to succeed. We are so honored today to have Mr. Joe Watkins. He is the chief executive and owner of Centric Technologies, which he established in 2006. He now has one office here in Lexington and another one in Florida. So Centric Technologies expanded to two offices. And in 2019, Joe Watkins was elected to City Council at Large here in Lexington, North Carolina. We're so excited that today he'll be presenting The Road to Entrepreneurship, from concept to exit, products of the entrepreneur. Let's welcome Mr. Joe Watkins.
Ms. Whitney and Ms. Sage, I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you guys and engage some young entrepreneurs, whether you're experienced or whether you're novice at it. We think that these going to help you create that product that's sitting in the top of your mind that you just can't seem to get it out, and that's what we're going to go over today. Before we get started, I want to have people to, if you take a chance, could you please turn your phone over, put it on mute, turn your phone over. It's only going to be for a few minutes, and I need your undivided attention so we can focus mainly on what's going to set this legacy off for you as far as generating generational wealth for you and your family, and also creating that future that you're trying to create by putting your product out on the market. I want to start off with 4 truths today. Truth number 1: the brain cannot comprehend negative things, and to prove it, I'm going to use this. Don't think of an elephant. Okay, what happened? I know you thought of an elephant. What that means is that if you focus on the obstacles, that's all you're going to see are the obstacles. And truth number 2, mistakes on a job can get you fired. Mistakes as an entrepreneur can make you successful. So do not worry about mistakes. Truth number 3, everything that was ever created, it all started from a thought. Doesn't matter what it is, everything started as a thought. Truth number 4, your problem isn't your problem. Your reaction to that problem is your problem. So a lot of times how we react to problems determine how big our problem can be. They're usually not as big as we think they are. It's our reaction to them that makes these problems so difficult. And I've seen many new entrepreneurs during this pandemic. They just come out of the woodworks. They're here. They're trying to create this product. They're trying to get more in the market, and people are beginning to understand that their future, their future is safer in their own hands. And now they're taking the steps to secure that future and the opportunity to be a wealth generator for the next generation of your family. And that is really key in order to make it so that your kids can have something. Your kids after that can have something. And that's legacy. That's what most people want to leave behind in their family is you want to be that person. You want to be that key, and you can be. All it takes is you sacrifice now. You pay the price now so you can pay any price later. So that's what we want to get to. And someone has to break that generational curse. So let that person be you. You got to be the person to break that generational curse. And we're going to get right into it. Point number one, the thought. The hardest part about having a thought is there's much traffic going on the top in your head, and it makes it hard to declutter, makes it hard to really focus on things. And one of the keys to getting that product created is you have to get it out of your head and onto paper. And it's a scary process of creating a product. And the reason why it's so scary is that you're journeying into the unknown. You don't know what's going on, what's going to happen, whether it's going to be successful, whether it's going to be easy to create, whether you can afford to do those type of that product or that service. And let me say this. When I say product, I mean product and or a service. So it's not just creating a physical product. It can be a service also. And point number two, you own that vision. Nobody else knows that vision. Nobody else is going to be emotionally attached to that vision as you are. And that makes it personal to you. And it's like your little baby. You have to take care of it. You have to nurture it. You have to feed it. You have to continue to put the things in place to make that baby grow. And that can be your product and services. And another point you can do is you have to visualize. You have to visualize what you see. So if you could just take a minute, take that product, that service, visualize in your head, walk around that product, find out how does it feel? What color is it? How does it work? How do you feel emotionally when you grab that product? How do you feel? How are other people going to see that product? Is it easier to create? What's the texture of it? And you have to walk around it and get a very detailed description of that product so you can get it out of your head onto paper. So just to reiterate, point number one is it starts with a thought. That you have to take that thought and visualize that thought and get it out of your head onto paper. That is so key. And I see so many people that have a thought, have an idea, and they cannot get that thought out of their head. And what happens is that idea goes into the idea dumping ground in your head where all those other ideas sit, rely, and they just die right there. And we don't want that to happen on this product. We want you to bring this product and make it a reality. Bring this product, put it on the market. Bring this product that can that can change people's lives. Bring this product that can save people time. Bring this product so that you can enhance the life of an individual or another consumer that takes your product. The third point that I want to get across is taking action. The whole key to it is taking action. Within a few days of you not taking action, more than likely, you're not going to do anything with it. Statistics shows that after 5 days, an idea goes to nothing. You never take action on it. And I see that so many times in young entrepreneurs is that it's so hard for them to look at what it takes, or they try to skip parts of the action to make it work. And you can't cut corners in this thing because it never ends right. It's similar to creating a business. You create a business the wrong way, and you're stuck that way until you get the sacrifice and you want to take the financial hit now in order to correct that business. As far as when you create that business or that product or that service, if you, like I said, if you don't create it right now, and I'm speaking from my experience, in 2006, when I started Centric, I didn't start it the correct way. And one of the problems I had is that when it came time to scale your business or grow it, I couldn't grow it efficiently. It cost too much money. And that's because when I took actions, I cut corners and I didn't do the right thing. So now I was stuck with big tax payments because I didn't grow it the right way. I didn't create it the right way. Then I got to the point where I had more clients than I could handle. I couldn't scale it the right way because I was always trying to do shortcuts to make things happen. And so those are the problems that can enter when you take the wrong action. So be very careful with your actions. And also, when you start doing that and you start getting the actions taken, you got that part down, you now have to find the resources or the sources to start making the product a reality, whether it's costing out the material, whether it's sourcing the product. A lot of people go to Alibaba and find a product, find a supply there. And one of the things that I see them doing, they'll see a product, but they will not order samples of that product. They will not do a prototype of that product. They just get it and they sell it. The worst thing you can do is not ever use a product you're going to sell. You have to eat your own dog food at all times. You don't know how that product worked, whether it's a bad design, engineering. You don't know if whatever with that widget falls apart when you use it. You don't know those things until you get it in your hand, look at it, feel it, use it. You have to do all those things. That's part of the action, is eating your own dog food. Also, when you get that product and it's in your hand, you got the prototype or you got a sample, like I said, use it. Find out what's the best, how do you use this product, and you need to do a step-by-step in your own words how to use the product. Do not just stick to the manufacturer, because they're going to miss some steps that normally they are built only to sell that product to masses. You're probably going into the point where you're starting. You want to sell that product to a few individuals to start out with, and you have to make sure that works perfectly fine. Then at that point, you want to go into marketing the product. It's no one's fault but yours if no one knows your product exists. No one else's fault but yours. And if you build it, they will not come. There's this myth out here that's saying that build it and they will come. That's not true. Don't get into that, because it leads you down this path of resentment for other people that you thought was going to put your product up. Only depend on you when you're putting your product out. And don't expect other people to tell other people about your product. It's up to you to tell people about your product. I've seen it happen so many times, and you create a product, you create a business, and your friends don't show up. I see it a lot. I have to work through that with other people about, well, I created this business and now nobody's supporting it. That's your fault. It's no one's fault but yours. So take the responsibility, go out, market that product, and find a way to generate some buzz about that product. You can even give some away for free. It's part of the marketing. One of the things is attention. Money follows attention. Let's take this example. I use this example all the time. Let's use the example of Donald Trump. Donald Trump is, he's a let's just say he's a good businessman. May not be, ethical, but he's a good businessman. One of the things that's so great about Donald Trump is that he is a marketer. There was not a time during his presidency that he was not on TV. He was always in your face, always in the front of your mind, at the back of your mind. And people wonder why he's so rich. It's because he makes people focus on them by the actions he take, by the things he say. So I can honestly say money follows attention. So if you can get the attention of the people that's out here, you will have no problem being successful. But make sure it's the right attention. You don't want to get the wrong attention. So let's go back over point 3 and point 4. You got to take action. It's point 3. You must take action. Make sure you do the right actions. Make sure you take the time you don't be in a hurry on this. Don't be in a hurry. Take your time. Look at the process. Do your documentation. Please take notes. Don't trust your brain to remember everything that you have. Always take notes. I have a stack of papers on my desk right here. It's full of notes. I try not to keep nothing in my head because I don't trust this brain up here. When I got a little bit older, so it don't hold as much as material as it used to. So I have to keep it in. And also, there's so much going on in your life when you're trying to create a product that you just can't remember everything, especially the details. And that's what ideas and successful ideas get lost, is in the details. So be very detailed. And go back over point 4. It's the marketing. Like I said, it's your fault if no one knows about your product. And if you build it, they will not come. So don't get caught up in that myth. And don't expect others to tell others about your product. So word of mouth marketing, make sure that your word of mouth marketing is coming from the right people. You don't want anybody just out there giving you word of mouth because you don't know what they're telling others. So you have to make sure that. Point 5 is where it really gets to the nitty gritty, and that's the mindset. The other 4 points are good because it's a process. It's a system that you have to do. And you can actually document that system. You can actually put it on paper. But one thing you can't put on paper is mindset. One of the things that I've learned from creating my company is there is never a typical day as a business owner. There is never a typical day. And you have to be ready for all these different things that happen in your life, whether it's in your business life, whether it's in your personal life. Those things affect everything you're doing about your business, everything you're doing about your product. Unexpected expenses could slow your product down. Unexpected expenses you'll be moving money from your business over to your personal just to cover these unexpected things, and vice versa, from your business to your personal. So you have to be ready for them. And one of the things that you can do is start building up your mindset right now. And one of the keys, that the major difference between the successful people of business and the unsuccessful people of business is that successful people look for problems to resolve. Unsuccessful people, they make every attempt to avoid the mistakes. Just let it be, let it go. And remember the truth that I mentioned before. Mistakes on a job can get you fired, but mistakes as an entrepreneur can make you successful. So don't be afraid of the mistakes. Allow them to happen, learn from them, and continue going on your quest. And the other mindset challenge that I see people, I see it so much, and these are some of the main things that I see, and I try to help people through those, is comfort takes more prisoners than any jail. Comfort takes more prisoners than any jail. I've seen people go through all all things to be comfortable trying to create a product, trying to create a business. And it just don't work that way. And if it's not comfort, then it's fear. Fear is one huge, actually, it's not even a huge monster. It's a small monster. The reason what makes it big is time. Fear depends on time for its strength. So if you confront that fear with speed, accuracy, it's not as big, and you're able to go to it and look it right in the face because you're standing on top of it. That's one thing about fear that I've learned. Attack it first. Don't let fear attack you. Don't allow fear. You want to try to attack it before the day is out. The minute you sleep on fear, when you wake up in the morning, that fear monster is so large now. He's gained strength from the hours of you sleep, of being inactive, trying to dodge it, trying to work your way around it. That it's just too big. It is hard to handle it right now. And another factor that I see is in the mindset is being born in bad circumstances is not the issue. Staying in those bad circumstances is. So I get it. Some people had to, as they say, get it from the mud. I've heard people say I had to start from the bottom. Actually, starting from the bottom is a gift. It really is. It's a gift because you have to look at every aspect more detailed than someone that started with a capital investment. They got money to blow. You don't. So you are very careful about every decision you make. That's one of the keys as starting from the bottom and going up. And if you stay in those situations, that's the issue. You have an opportunity to get out. And just to digress for a bit, I look at every year, some people have the opportunity to change their lives every year. And it's with their tax checks. If you take those tax checks and you use those income tax returns effectively, you can basically change your whole life around in less than 3 years. Less than 3 years by investing that money in the right way at the right time and not being so quick to spend the money that it burns a hole in your pocket trying to get it out. So we really have to focus on how we use our money. So that's one point in our life, that there's this huge influx of cash that you can use to create generational wealth, create a business, create a product, and things like that. And just to start wrapping this up a little, success is not something that happens to you. It's something that happens because of you and because of the actions you take. And you really have to stay focused and committed to your product and service. And you have to protect your ideas at all costs, because the ones that talk negative about your goals and your dreams, more than likely they're giving up on theirs. So just to finish this out, I'm available for consultations or questions, and you can book a meeting with me. I'm gonna drop it in the comments, so you'll be able to. Yeah, I'll drop it in the comments. I don't see my comments. It's not open for me, but I'll drop it in there. And
send it to me in a private chat, and I'll put it in the.
Okay, all right. I'll drop those in there.
Okay.
And I'm available for any consultations or questions. You can book a meeting with me at tidycal, tidycal.com/Joe Watkins, or you can email me questions at joe@joewatkinsjr.com.
Okay.
So I ran over that pretty quick. And like I said, if you got any questions, feel free to just contact me there. Oh, and one other thing. Two things. Self-discipline is a great key. People think motivation is what gets you. Motivation was not the reason Dr. Martin Luther King walked for freedom. It was self-discipline. Nelson Mandela didn't get locked up for motivation. He got locked up for being self-disciplined. those are the key thing. And I guess I'm gonna mention again, very successful people don't seek comfort.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up, and I'm open for any questions now. And
Well,
I'm very hot. My air conditioner is so loud, I had to turn it off in my office, because if I turn it on, it sounds like a whirlwind.
yeah.
I didn't want it to be, drown me out. So
That
I'm
was
open
great.
to any questions.
I actually, personally, I'm hot too. I had to put my fan directly close to me
Yeah.
today. But one, I want to thank you for that. That was short and sweet. But I do have a question, Mr. Watkins. Can you explain exactly what Centric Technologies, like what your actual business is?
Okay. Yeah. Central Technologies is an IT firm. What we do, we specialize in cybersecurity. One of the things you hear on TV, I'm going to just use it: ransomware attacks. We help prevent and remediate those, and we also provide services to small and medium sized business from 5 users and up. We help them get business on to get better sleep at night by us taking over their IT, becoming their IT support virtually to allow them to budget IT support without this hills and peaks and valleys of IT budget. So that's what we look to do.
Okay. About how many people do you have working for you?
3. I have 3. Most of my guys are remote.
Okay.
That's what makes our business so unique. We don't have to be sitting in the office. We can work remotely.
That's the beautiful thing about technology in general. You don't kind of have to be in a space.
Yep.
But I know you gave some specific things about, your mindset, and, you need to market yourself and all of those things. What would you, obviously you apply those to your life, but I know your background is that you grew up in Lexington. Well, let me not. Did you grow up actually in Lexington? I know you kind of moved.
Yeah.
No, he has a family member.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually grew up in Gaffney, South Carolina.
Okay.
Like, you're going down 85 business, not business, regular 85. Like, you're going to Atlanta. Soon as you see that big peach on 85, I grew up right across the highway.
Okay.
That's where I grew up, right there near the mall, and as the locals call it, the Yellow Mall.
Okay.
But yeah, it's actually the prime outlet mall in Gaffney.
Okay, so when did you actually, I'm trying to tie this into, people that are here in Lexington. When did you actually move to Lexington?
In 1993.
Okay.
I came to Lexington in 1993. I tell you what, you mind if I give you my story on how?
Yeah, that's what I want to hear. Absolutely.
All right. I came here in 1993. Out of me I had this desire to just want to do my own thing. And I couldn't do my own thing only because I respected my dad's rules in his house, and I didn't like them. But I wasn't brave enough. I wasn't brave enough to go against them. So instead, I just left them. So I came up to Lexington. I stayed with my aunt. I stayed with her about 3 months. And then I have one of my first cousins that actually live here. She allowed me to stay in her apartment for over 6 months. And then that's when I met my wife now. And we've been together since 93.
Okay.
So we've been married for 24 years, 25 years. I'm happy she's here because she'll correct me. But and then in 97, I started working for the federal government, and that intrigued my interest in technology. I started working for them. I did major projects, CIA, Pentagon, FBI, Department of Defense, Coast Guard, all those. I did a lot of secret work.
Okay.
And after that, I decided that, hey, they can do that, I can do it on my own. And so I came out, started Centric Technologies, and I've been going since then.
Okay. Well, yeah, I always, me and Sage are also entrepreneurs as well. So I think the biggest thing for me is when I do hear, people's story, their road to entrepreneurship and how they got there. Sometimes I always feel like, okay, so you just started it, then what? I always feel like it's somebody missing a part, because I think that launch is what people, and that could be the mindset, but I want you to maybe expound on that. Like, is it just I sat here, I had a thought, and I started it? Because sometimes I feel like we miss what was the real stuff that went in between. Did you have a side job on the side? Did you work part-time doing this?
Gotcha.
As an entrepreneur, even when I share my story, I don't want people to think like, oh yeah, just no, it wasn't. It's always like these things, and I think that sometimes in people in certain environments, certain situations people in, it's sometimes harder to just see, oh, just start it.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah. Okay, I got you. A little bit more detail. I got this friend of mine. Me and him been friends since 1996, and in '90s he had owned his own company since then. And he would always, I was working, I was traveling a lot, and he would always tell me whenever I met him, man, you can do your own thing. You can do your own thing. And I thought about it. I was like, man, that ain't what I want to do. Even though I had thought about it as I'm 15 years old, and I'm thinking, you lay in the bed and you thinking of how you want your life to be when you're 15, and those thoughts continue. They tend to get lost as you grow older, and as you experience life, and life throws those things at you that allows you to push down those dreams, push down those goals in order to live. And one of the things that helped me was I had a guy that asked me, he said, do you think you can have a happy life by always living in survival mode? That stuck to me, because you actually can't have a fulfilling life living in survival mode. We see it now. People don't like it when you have to live from hand to mouth. It's tough. You have no room in it. And plus, as a man and as a family man, one of the things that I always had to deal with was, how can I take care of my family? And in 2006, I was working a regular job, and I just went home one day. I told my wife, I quit work. I didn't give a 2 weeks notice. I just quit. It was a Tuesday. I'll never forget that day. And it wasn't 30 days later that I started having real bad anxiety attacks, to the point where I just felt like I couldn't get up. Heart was racing every time you got up. It was the stress that comes with owning a business. And that's some of the things that I want people to understand, is that starting a business, it's not this easy thing that you do that you just I'm gonna start a business. No, you better have plans. I started with no plans, and I don't recommend that, because it's very tough. It can take years off your body before you realize that, man, I made a mistake, but I'm too far in to even come out of where I am. So I just those are some of the, and I had anxiety attacks for a whole 8 months straight. So I had to deal with that for 8 months, and then as soon as I started going, I had a project for like $50,000. My huge project. That was the first project I had. It was like $50,000, and after I got it, we did 3/4 of the project, and the company filed bankruptcy on us. So I had $50,000 worth of material, I had employee pay, and they filed bankrupt, and I couldn't get a dime. So I'm sitting here like, I'm just going to pay my guys. And at that point, I was like, I'm closing up shop, because I can't take a hit like that. And those are some of the problems that you see that can actually hold you down, is that these unexpected expenses that I was saying, that you start transferring money from personal to business to personal in order to live. And when you do that, please consult your tax consultant before you move money like that, because there are some things you need to look at before you actually start making those moves. So that's the hard part that most of you don't hear when people talk about, is what happened when you got started. There were times when you can sit down. I used to go downstairs, and my wife would cook food, and I wouldn't eat upstairs. I would go down and let my family eat first, I would go downstairs, and you can go down there and cry your eyes out. Nobody come down there and check on me. And then I go upstairs after they've eaten, and I see what's left, and I eat it. And I survived off. I mean, for about 2 years, I survived off the 2 for $2 at McDonald's. I would go get 2 for $2 at McDonald's. I would get 2 of those and a cup of water. That was my meal for the day. And I knew I had to feed myself in order to. I had to have energy. You gotta power yourself while you're out working. And I remember I had a project in Wilmington, no, Fayetteville. It was in Fayetteville. I had a project for $300. This was my first project, $300, all the way in Wilmington. Well, the problem is I didn't have the $20. So I took a chance, put $20 in my little van that I had, drove all the way to Wilmington, did the job, and I remember plain as day. It was 4:30. I was nowhere near done, but I didn't have any more money left. I wasn't going to sleep in my van, so I told the guy I wasn't honest with him. I wasn't honest, and it was only because I wanted to eat and I didn't want to sleep in my van, and I wanted to go home that day. So I told him I was done, even though I wasn't. It was like I was missing a little small piece that I could just go to. I think I could get it at Walmart or something. So I was going to go to Walmart, but I didn't have any money. So I told him I was done and I wanted to check. So at about 4, I went to the lady about 4:40. She said, well, he left and he'll be back in a few minutes. So it was like 4:50. I kind of waited around. I'm getting nervous and I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm like, man, I don't know. I got to park my car my van in a parking spot just to, get sleep the next day. Cause I didn't want to do that. I did it before and I didn't want to do it no more. So at 4:50, he came and he was talking to me. I remember when I pulled in, it was a bank right up the street. And he come and he was talking, he was writing the check. I told him I was done and I wasn't. He was writing the check and he kept pausing when he did it. I'm like, man, please give me this check so I can get up to this bank so I can cash this and have some money in my pocket so I can finish this project, put gas in my car, and then go home because I do not want to sleep in my van. Didn't like it. Like I said, I did it before. And he gave me the check. And if y'all ever seen a disappearing act, that was me. I like poof, got in my van, drove up to the bank, and it was 5 o'clock. When I looked at my watch, it was 5 o'clock. When I went to the door, me and the lady were walking to the door to say, and I pulled the door open before she could get it. She was like, you right in the nick of time because I was going to lock the door. You beat me to it. I went in there and cashed my check. Man, you talking about relief? That's some of the hard things that most people don't tell you about when they out there trying to make it, trying to make things work, trying to provide for their family, trying to create this dream. Those are the things that people miss. So I finished the project completely at about 7 o'clock and I drove home right after that. But on the way back home, my alternator died in my car. So I dumped it. My car stopped in High Point up by, I think it's Baker. Is it Baker? Somewhere in High Point, Baker Road.
Yeah.
Car cut off right there. And I'm like, So lucky I had AAA and I called them and they told me on home. But still, those are the hard things. And like I said, if it was easy, everybody would do it.
But I would like to just thank you so much for the story.
Okay.
I'd like to thank you for the transparency. And we're trying to be more diverse in our presentations because a lot of times we have female presenters, and you said, oh, a lot of pressure here because I was like, oh, and you're a male, and we're just so happy to switch it up. I want to say that I loved when you talked about how mistakes really are good for you if you're an entrepreneur because everything is a stepping stone to your success.
Correct.
So a mistake could cost you to learn, whereas a mistake on your job could, I know when I think of mindset, I think of the way I language things. And so you talked about generational curses. And so I have family members that will talk about that because in the community of color, there's a lot of violence. There may be a lot of broken families.
Yeah.
And so they may think it is a generational curse, but really it's a mindset that anyone who changes their mind will set a new trajectory for their family.
Yes,
So
I
I
agree.
say I say generational patterns because they're patterns
Okay.
that people have established because I'm establishing a pattern of speaking in a way that blesses me, right? So
Hmm.
I don't say generational curse. I say generational pattern.
Okay.
That's something that I'm learning and learning to apply it. And then I love when you said some people say I started from the mud. And so the lotus, which is the most beautiful flower, if you've ever seen one, only grows in the mud.
Gosh. Yeah.
So I was like, these are some key points because, oh, yeah, you could tell me how to maybe establish an LLC or apply in the state, but you're really telling me the fertile ground in which a person has to plant their seed.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's what you're giving us. And so when you said comfort takes more prisoners than any jail, now can I quote you on that?
Yeah.
That's a Joe Watkinism. I can
I
quote
actually,
you on that.
I heard it. I go to a lot of seminars, and when the guy said it,
I
um,
love it.
it was Grant Cardone that said that.
I,
Grant
I, I
Cardone.
that really because I know somebody told me once everything you desire is right outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And most people will not go the extra. And so when you talked about motivation, I had to tell someone who I think is depressed that you don't get motivation by wallowing. The motivation comes after you start moving.
Got to be disciplined.
You got to
Action.
start moving, right? So I really appreciate the story. And when you talked about hand to mouth and being a man, a lot of our mental health issues, anxiety, or always being in a state of fear that we're not going to make it, eventually affects your health
Yes, it does.
physically, mentally. And so these are all the things. Every time me and Miss Middlebrooks, my technologically savvy entrepreneur over here, I think it gets better and better every time. What do you think, Miss Whitney?
I agree.
I think it gets better and better every time.
That's
Thank you
excellent.
so much.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well,
And one of the other things is, I, you don't grow. People think that you gotta grow old to die. You don't. You can die at 20 years old by not having no direction in your life, no goals in your life, and you just sit there and you. I'm trying to think of his name. Gosh, his name slipped my mind. Y'all, you guys probably, when I say this, you might catch it. Is um, Les Brown. I listen to him a lot of times, and he said, "Do you just want to live? I mean, do you just want to continue surviving? Why don't you take a chance at living?" And I was like, I didn't really catch what he said, and I'm like, you know what? I am just surviving. I don't want to survive. I want to live. I want to have that life more abundantly. I want to do those things that I always thought in my head that I wanted to do. That life you had when you were a child, you're growing up and saying, "Hey, I'm gonna be a lawyer. I'm gonna be rich. I'm gonna be this. I'm gonna be that." Though, like I said, those things get stomped down by life. But you have to make a change in your life and believe in yourself that you can do those things, because nobody is going to carry you through this life. Nobody is. So you have to really get down and get to work on creating the atmosphere for you to be productive in life, and for you to be able to make those different moves in order to get whatever you're trying to get. Now, product creation and service and things like that are not the only ways into creating whatever generational wealth. I use more than just Centric. I'm a cryptocurrency trader. actually a cryptocurrency holder, and I do stocks and options. So I do those too. And those are just some of the vehicles. And I tell my kids, this is one thing I tell my kids a lot, is please do not rely on one income because you're never in control. That a stump toe can cost you 8 hours of work, which is a whole days of work. That is for me. This is personal for me. That I would not get any sleep at night because I'm wondering, like, if I wake up and hit the edge of the dresser in the morning, I'm done for the day. But if you had other income streams, then you would be able to, you got to have some diversification in it. And if you don't, you're always at risk. You're at risk of the next body movement you make.
I have
And
a question. I'm sorry.
yeah,
The question is, could you speak to risk taking? Because I could say for myself, that might be one of the things that hinders me. And most people aren't, you know, what role does that play in entrepreneurship?
well, I look at risk taking is uncalculated risk taking is not something you do. You always calculate your risk. And the way you calculate it is by asking those questions. Let's say you have a product or service. I guess the first question you want to ask is, anybody going to buy it? That's the first question. Number two is, can this change your life? Can this make your life easier? Can it make it better? Can it enhance your life? Those questions, if you can answer yes to those, then it's no longer an uncalculated risk. It's a risk that you're well aware of the consequences if you don't, or if you do, instead of like, I don't know. And I always calculate my risk. Even when I'm trading stocks, I need three indicators to match up before I make that trade. It's risk, but it's calculated risk. I don't jump in it. So I it's some things that I've done starting my business that I wouldn't suggest to anybody else, because there were better ways. The reason why I did it that way is because I never had anybody before me to teach me that. So I was stuck with, Joe, you the learner, you the guy that that's going to make change this generational pattern. That was the hardest thing. So if I didn't look for a mentor, I didn't look for anything, and I didn't know what not to do. I knew what to do, but I didn't know what not to do, and I kept doing those what not to do's, thinking that was the way. And it's like this, and I learned I learned in the political world, common sense don't mean anything, and sometimes in the business world, common sense don't mean anything. It's a matter of calculation. Um, it's a matter of finding if something going to work or not. And that's how I look at risk. It's never uncalculated. It's always calculated. I know what my losses are that I'm going to incur before I get to it.
Well, that's awesome. Listen, I think that the information that you shared today was good for me. Me and Sage always take notes and really take heed. I hope that, those that are tuning in, that, taking some of the information, and even if, entrepreneurship is not the route you want to go, I think the information he shared about your mindset and all of those things can still be applied in your life in some way, whether it is to finish a certain goal. With people that are in FSS program, there's a goal you need to get to. You can take those same things about, different mistakes, and, thinking about your thoughts, putting that idea on paper, actually getting it out. So it's not all about only starting a
Yeah.
business. Those things can be applied, but I think there's great tools. But if you are thinking about it, I think that he has provided some good information on how to get started. Just go for it. Consider your risk, consider all of those things, but don't let fear always stop or drive you to do certain things. But again, it looks like we got some good feedback about it. Said terrific info. Thank you, Miss Kimberly, and as well as Miss Bethany, leaving a comment about the information in this workshop. And I've also, he mentioned this before, of how you can reach him. So it's tidycow.com/
Yeah.
Joe Watkins. So you can contact him there. And that is to schedule like a meeting.
Yes, to book some time with me.
Yeah, book sometimes. And he also provided his email address. So
And I just want to say, to book some time with you, there is a cost for that, correct?
Initially, there's not. It's all dependent if I can. I don't like it charging. I can't help you, so we just take it from there. We do the first meeting and we'll handle all that stuff after that. But to book the time, it's no charge.
Yeah, so he does have his email address at joe at joewatkinsjr.com. So feel free to contact him, and he has all his information there. Again, as mentioned, he is the city council at large here in Lexington, North Carolina. So he is very integral in a part of, being a part of the city, and being involved in that way. And we just want to, again, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Me and Sage first met him. We were like, oh, we got to get him on here, So again, just thank you. And as always, before we wrap up, we do like to ask a quick question for those that are a part of the Housing Authority. And Joe's going to ask a question
Okay.
as to what he discussed today. So I'm going to turn it back over to you, Joe.
Okay. I got to find a question. Oh yeah. What do you think is the main key to getting your business started? And I mentioned it under the mindset, and I actually mentioned it during the example of Martin Luther King and Nelson Mandela.
So whoever has that answer to that question, you can put it in the comments and I will post it whenever I see it. Let's see. Can you repeat the question one more time?
Yes. What is key to starting your business or product or service? What is the main key, that one of the keys you need? And I mentioned it during the MLK and Nelson Mandela example.
Okay, so we have a response from Bethany Ely. Staying positive and putting thoughts on paper. So is that correct?
No, that's not it.
Okay. Anybody want to take another try at that one? Give you a couple minutes.
I'm gonna throw that answer.
While we wait for an answer, Mr. Watkins, do you have any things that are coming up in the city or anything that you would like to just share real quick while we wait for you to put that comment or answer in?
Yeah, some of the great things that's first of all, I want to give a shout out to the Davidson local. I'm gonna tell you why I want to give them a shout out. They have really changed the game on newspaper here in Lexington. They have this selection called Brews. I can't even think of the name of it. But what it does, they give you a list of all the events that's happening in Davidson County. Okay. It doesn't matter where they are. It could be Thomasville, Denton, all over. And I'm like, I'm my hat's off to that, because that takes a lot of work to be out there and get that. And some of the things that's coming up, there's a lot of new housing development coming in which I'm a big proponent of economic development. And one way to bring in those big companies is you got to have the people, you got to have the skill sets here locally in order to draw those business here, because that's one of the main things that businesses look for is, do I have to have my employees drive an hour to work every day? They don't want to do that, because it ups the chances of them not coming to work.
Okay. So. Okay. Well, good. So Davidson Local is
y'all need to try to check them out. DavidsonLocal.com.
I'm definitely going to connect with them just to if I can filter information out to our residents. But we do have a response to your question, and she said taking action.
Actually, you want me to give the answer?
Yeah, let's just go ahead and
Okay, all right. The answer was the key is self-discipline.
okay.
You have to be self-disciplined. If you're not self-disciplined, none of this is going to work. Um, it's a difference between doing things you want to do than doing things you don't want to do.
Okay. So that was my question. An example of self-discipline.
Okay,
I say delaying instant gratification.
correct. Okay.
So you just said it a different way. So the example is, go ahead, doing things.
That it's easy to do things you want to do, but it's not really easy and convenient to do things you don't want to do. But those are the things that make and break everything.
Okay.
Yep. And
Okay. And I recently heard it put another way. So I'm so thankful for today
all right.
because it's almost like everything that you're saying is things that I have started learning. And
Uh-huh.
then, to know it is one thing, but without applying it, it's like you don't know it at all.
Correct.
So I really feel like I'm learning. But someone said the things that you feel the most resistant is the very thing you need to do.
Need to do. Um, that's it. I tell you what. People always tell me, "Hey, how to get up at 4 in the morning." Okay. I did that one time. I don't do it no more because I figured out that that's and they say I'm motivated to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. No, you're not. You're self-disciplined to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm not motivated. I'm telling you, I'm not. I'm not motivated to get up at 4 in the morning. But I'm disciplined to be up at the time that I get up. It's self-discipline. That's why I get out of the bed. Nothing. It's self-discipline. Motivation is temporary.
Right.
Yeah. Self-discipline is a lifestyle. That's what you create to guide your life.
Well, look, I think that everything again you shared, that all of that makes sense. I just again want to thank you. If Miss Age didn't want, if she wanted to add anything before we go, but I will just add that we are going to host. We're going to have the date that we postponed last month for the job fair that we were supposed to have at Jamaica Drive because it rained. Well, it was going to rain. It actually didn't rain that day, but I'll keep everyone updated on that. When the next one will be. And again, just thank you all for attending. As you know, we'll be following up next month and we'll let everyone know what that topic's going to be, who's going to be our speaker, and what we have going on. So again, thank you everyone for being online and staying with us today. Did you want to add anything, Miss Sage?
I just want to thank Mr. Watkins for coming, and it's just such an honor to work with Whitney. It really is because
Yeah.
she's young and powerful, and I mean I just get excited about the whole concept of people understanding that do not despise small beginnings. That's what the Bible says. And so if you just start, that's the big thing. You got to just start. And we started something, and COVID tried to knock us out, and we're still here going strong. Thank
Right.
you.
Thank you so much. Well, like I said, we will see you all next month. You all have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.
And I'll see you at the expo, Whitney.
Oh, good. Yeah.
I'll be there.
No, don't leave though. Don't leave.
All right.
I'm gonna stay on.
All right. Thank
All
you. Bye.
Uh-huh.